Hi, everybody. So, for my project, I interviewed a 43-year-old female, and she's from rural upstate New York. She prefers to go by the pseudonym Abby. So, Abby is a mother of three adult children. She works as a medical imaging assistant at a local hospital. As far as educational background, she has her associates in agriculture, and she's explored a wide variety of other degrees like criminal justice and nursing. Um, so throughout the interview, she, well, first off, she's a very opinionated woman, and she got very vocal at points, which for me was frustrating, but also looking back on it, um, kind of enjoyable because you could see how she how passionate she was and how she stood up for how she feels. And I think one of the things in this course that we've learned is to really voice how we feel and be able to communicate and learn from each other. And so what I learned from her is, I guess I wouldn't say that I learned how to be more accepting, but I think I learned a lot of patience in talking with her because we are two totally different people. She is very religious. A lot of the questions that I had asked her, she related back to her Catholic faith, and she really holds on to her faith as a focal point of her life. And for me, I think in listening to some of her questions, for example, when she answered my question, how do you define race? She included the phrase slanted eyes, and for me, I perceive that as racist, but she doesn't see she doesn't see it that way. She just sees it as merely a description. And I think from this, I've learned that um, not even so much from being from a rural background, um, with, I don't want to say limited education, but I mean some education. I don't think that that necessarily defines how she words things because I'm from a rural background, but I certainly don't think I have a limited education. I just think that it could be maybe the diversity between how we've both grown up, or I mean, I'm not really sure how to summarize perceptions. I don't think that I entirely could if I wanted to. Um, so, in terms of gender and identity, she that was one of the points where she got very vocal with me because I she knows how I feel about things, but I did not let this interfere with the interview. But the way that she answered the questions, I guess she could tell that the we don't see eye to eye. But again, I did want to remain as calm as possible. I didn't get vocal with her. I stayed calm, and um, I just stayed calm and finished the interview. And after the interview, we kind of discussed how I feel further, but I didn't really want to get too into it because I just really didn't want to debate with her. I feel that even though I love a healthy debate, that there's a time and a place for it. And in my experience with people that are as opinionated as she is, you kind of can't really make them see your side of things. I can definitely understand, well, for the most part, I think where she's coming from. I respect it, even though I don't feel the same way the majority of the time. I just finished the interview, and I really appreciate her taking the time to sit and talk with me and answer the questions that I had for her. So as you'll notice throughout my site, there are a variety of different pages, each labeled one of the main topics that we have discussed throughout all of our projects. And what I did on each page was take her answers as well as my answers from part B to give you guys a bit of an idea of the diversity between the two, and maybe this would help understand what I mean about how I feel about things, and how at times it was hard for me to just stay patient and calm and not vocalize anything throughout the interview. And also, I think that in doing each part of this project, I've become a lot more aware of the type of material that we have been exposed to, such as like the videos, the text, the podcast. I have kind of strangely started noticing that these things are on certain radio stations that I listen to. For instance, I was in my car 2 days ago and I heard two women talking about gender. And I'm sorry, not two women, a woman and somebody who identifies as non-binary. And the woman, the radio host, didn't understand the how people that identify as non-binary feel, and how that kind of works throughout their life. So that to me was a pretty interesting thing to listen to. I don't think I listened to the whole thing. I was on my way to work, so it was only maybe about 5 minutes of it. But I've also been noticing Facebook posts and just a lot of things on the internet now that I have taken this course and become more interested in being educated about these issues. And I think the main thing that I've taken away from this project is I become a lot more self-aware and openly exploring how I can better educate myself on the issues that we've discussed. This project was difficult for me at times because I often have a hard time putting how I feel into words. So the most difficult things for me were having patience and not letting the way I feel be vocalized throughout the interview in part A, and throughout part B, answering the questions myself was pretty easy for me. I know how I feel, and I don't have any problems discussing my side of the story per se with people, as long as they're willing to actually listen with their ears and not just listen to retaliate, which I think is a very important skill that we as teachers need to try to work with our students on. It definitely takes practice, but I think in having these tough discussions and exposing our students to the resources, such as the ones that we've been exposed to and the ones that we may find, I think that it's entirely possible. So I've included some of the posts that I've seen, pictures of them, and some of the articles, and I will try to find the radio segment that I've heard. I'm not entirely sure if I can, but that will also be included in the post section on my site. So I hope you guys enjoy exploring my site, and thank you for viewing it.